Hope your weekend plans are unfolding nicely. Thank you for joining us. I'm Daniel Choy with this Sunday evening's edition of Arirang News. A great leader is loved, hated, and feared at the same time. And of course, more importantly, they are respected for what they have done. And in the case of Lee Kuan Yew, he turned a little dot on the map to a gleaming global metropolis. And Singaporeans gathered to bid one final farewell to the founding father, Lee Kuan Yew, on Sunday. President Park Geun-hye, who had maintained close relations with the former prime minister, was also in attendance alongside the dozens of other world leaders who had come to pay their respects. Our Choi You-sun starts us off.
Under a heavy downpour, thousands of Singaporeans packed the streets of the city-state on Sunday to express their love and appreciation for Lee Kuan Yew, who died Monday at the age of 91. From the Parliament House, where the body has been laid since Wednesday, the former Prime Minister's coffin made a final tour of the city, the place of Lee's 6 decades-long political legacy. Dozens of former and current world leaders came to pay their respects at the state funeral. President Park Geun-hye, whose special relationship with the former prime minister dates back to her father's presidency in 1979, was also there. In the condolence book, she wrote that Lee was a monumental leader whose name will remain forever engraved in the pages of world history. Outside the funeral venue, people gathered at tribute sites across Singapore to remember the statesman recognized for transforming the former British outpost to a global trading and financial hub in just a single generation.
He was a great man. Without him, Singapore will not be what it is today.
What he has done is never expressed in words. We really appreciate it. That's why we are here to pay tribute to him.
Even those who didn't support Lee's policies on dissent and public order expressed their appreciation for the leader, adding he was like a very strict father.
As I travel around the world and seeing, other countries and comparing to what Singapore has today, we come to realize that what he did was actually for the best for his nation and for his people.
President Park has said that she hopes to enhance bilateral ties with current Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. This Seoul, with its growth initiative, seeks to learn from Singapore's rise to a global financial and distribution hub after overcoming similar obstacles like lack of resources and a complex geopolitical environment. Choi You-sun, Arirang News, Singapore.
Well, if Singapore is a nanny state, I'm proud to have fostered one. That's the words of the late senior minister, Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. Moving on to another story related to that, it's not often that a South Korean president attends a foreign leader's funeral, but President Park has a special connection to late Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, as did her father, the late President Park Geun-hye. Our Kwan So-wa has more on the Singaporean leader's special relationships with Korea.
1979 was the year Singapore's first Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew first visited South Korea for a summit with then-President Park Geun-hye. It's also when he met President Park Geun-hye. She was 22 and the acting First Lady. Since then, Lee made a total of 6 visits to Korea, meeting nearly all the Korean presidents that followed. An eyewitness to Korea's rapid industrial and agricultural developments, Singapore's founding father spoke highly of President Park Geun-hye's rural development policies. And the admiration was not one-sided. Former President Lee Myung-bak said he was inspired by Lee Kuan Yew's business philosophy even before his Cheongwade years. But Korean leaders did not always see eye to eye with the former prime minister. Once Lee had a heated debate over the political ideology of Asian values, while he focused on culture, late Korean leader Kim Dae-jung championed democracy. At times, Lee unabashedly criticized Korea's conglomerate-focused economy.
With only 2% of asset holdings, families of Korea's top 30 chaebols have been able to control 331 trillion in assets. Fully control board and management over investment is unjust, it's wrong.
Differences aside, Lee Kuan Yew always remained a friend, nurturing diplomatic and economic cooperation between Korea and Singapore over the years. Korean leaders say he's the driving force behind close bilateral ties to this day. Kwan So-wa, Arirang News.
We shift gears now to different stories. Korea's foreign minister has warned that Japan will risk damaging its leadership if it doesn't take a clear stance on history. According to Yonhap News, Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se told the Current Affairs show on Sunday that Japan should, quote, clearly state its position on historical issues and use this golden opportunity to prove that it can make a contribution to Asia and the world. The opportunity has been interpreted as a reference to his speech to the U.S. Congress next month and his statement marking the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II set for August. Abe has been vague about Japan's responsibility for its wartime sexual enslavement of women. In an interview with The Washington Post, he called the issue human trafficking without specifying the perpetrator. And Japan is seeking to hold an informal meeting with other members of long-stalled talks on North Korea's nuclear program by the end of June. Reports said Sunday Japan is hoping to bring together representatives of the six-party talks when the next round of the Northeast Asia Cooperation Dialogue is held in Tokyo. The dialogue brings together senior government officials from the countries involved in the six-party talks: China, Russia, North Korea, South Korea, the United States, and Japan. The talks, last held in 2008, are aimed at dismantling North Korea's nuclear capabilities. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is also reportedly seeking to make some progress on the issue of Japanese nationals abducted by Pyongyang decades ago. The U.S. Director of National Intelligence says North Korea has taken steps to deploy a long-range mobile intercontinental ballistic missile capable of reaching the U.S. He also added the reclusive regime is reactivating its uranium enrichment facilities. Our Park Ji-won tells us more.
This is the KN-08 intercontinental ballistic missile, which made its first public appearance during a military parade in North Korea in April 2012 to mark the 100th anniversary of the birth of the country's founder, Kim Il-sung. It is estimated to have a maximum potential range of roughly 12,000 kilometers, enough to reach U.S. soil. U.S. Director of National Intelligence James Clapper said in written testimony recently submitted to a U.S. House committee that North Korea is taking steps towards the missile's early deployment. Other U.S. defense experts have previously warned that North Korea is capable of building intercontinental ballistic missiles, although they haven't yet been flight tested.
We believe that they have the technical capabilities and the skill to produce an ICBM. They claim that they have done so.
Regarding Pyongyang's nuclear development program, Clapper, the U.S. National Intelligence Chief, said that North Korea has expanded its uranium enrichment facilities at its Yongbyon nuclear complex, following its third nuclear test in February 2013. He added that North Korea is focusing on developing its weapons of mass destruction, missiles and nuclear arms, and exporting the technologies to other countries, including Iran and Syria. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
And Korean manufacturers are feeling positive about their business conditions for the coming quarter. According to a survey of more than 3,000 companies by the Korea Institute for Industrial Economics and Trade, the business survey index for the manufacturing sector has risen 19 points from the previous quarter to 110 for the April to June period. A reading below 100 means pessimists outnumber optimists. The survey attributes the positive outlook to favorable conditions at home and abroad, namely the U.S. economic recovery and a rate cut by the Bank of Korea earlier this month to a record low of 1.75%. The Korean government is pumping an additional $18 billion into a new program that allows mortgage borrowers to switch to low fixed-rate loans. This as part of efforts to tackle the country's snowballing household debt. The Financial Services Commission says the second phase of the program will prioritize borrowers in the low-income bracket. The first round of loans were taken in a matter of 4 days last week. Authorities expect the new program will help borrowers lower their household debt by allowing them to repay their loans over a longer period of time. The new mortgage rates are between 2.5 to 2.7%, lower than the 3% range previously offered. Korea's total household debt of roughly $900 billion is seen as a big stumbling block to boosting consumer spending and reviving the economy. Some discouraging numbers here. Less than 18% of Koreans trust their government. That's according to a recent report by the Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs, or KIHASA, indicating the level of trust the public has in various institutions and industries. Some 3,600 Korean adult women and men were asked to rate how much they trust 13 institutions and industries in the months of July and August last year. Only 17.4% replied they trust the National Assembly. Joining that government body at the bottom of the ranking were the police, the prosecutor's office, the military, trade unions, and the media. Medical institutions were given the highest level of trust at 63.7%, with educational and financial institutions earning the trust of more than 50% of respondents. More details have emerged about the co-pilot believed to have deliberately crashed the plane into the French Alps. A woman who said she was the former girlfriend of Andreas Lubitz told Germany's Bild newspaper he had a plan which will let everyone know his name. In the report published Saturday, she said Lubitz didn't talk much about his illness, but he would wake up at night screaming, "We're going down," because of nightmares. Germanwings flight 4U-9525 crashed Tuesday, killing all 150 people on board. Media reports have said the 27-year-old was suffering from depression and vision problems that could have jeopardized his career, some of which he hid from his employer. And now the weather. Yellow dust levels were high on Sunday, and similar conditions will continue through early Monday morning, so be prepared for that. The mercury will rise to 21 in Seoul and 24 in Daegu, which is unusual as these are digits usually reached in May. But temperatures will be lower early in the morning and late in the evening. And now let's check out the weather conditions outside of Korea, around the world. That brings us to the end of this newscast, but we do have more coming up at 10 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching. We hope to see you then.